Welcome back to another episode of the Sit Down Talk. My name is Kier.
And I'm Noémie.
And we welcome you. Clap it up for you for being up in this joint today. Looking like you look, being like you be. She never know what I'm going to say when we do that.
I know.
If this is your first time here, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you can know blah, 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 blah. But if you are one of those people we call the repeat offenders because you come here time and time again, what's up with it? Welcome. Bring that in.
The hug. The infamous hug.
You smell good today. What's that? Took a shower this morning? Today's episode is about Noémie's vacation braids because
A black girl in her braids.
homegirl is going on a 4-day vacation?
Yeah.
To an island by herself, chilling, enjoying a well-deserved break, taking it all in.
A wellness and meditation break. That just happens to be on an island very far away.
I think you need distance from us, even though you may be reluctant to take it.
Very reluctant.
Yeah,
not reluctant enough not to go, but reluctant enough to be like,
Even if I gotta force you out.
Oh, I'm going. I'm just gonna be really sad about it.
After we were finished recording this joint, I'm taking her straight to the airport, just like that. So today we're talking about seeing your partner as the person they are versus the person they used to be. Mm-hmm. I remember Michelle Obama, you told me about the story she had in her book. Yeah, I'm quoting Michelle Obama.
I love her.
I'm quoting Michelle Obama.
Hi, Mrs. Obama.
She was talking about a situation between her and Barack where I guess she threw her ring in the back seat or something like that.
Yeah, they got into an argument and she threw, I think that was it.
I think it was her ring. She got mad and she threw it. And she said that she realized it hurt him because even to this day, he'll still mention it or he'll still bring it up. And I think I needed to hear that because we all, myself included, we all have experiences within our relationships where something happened that's really hard to move past. Mm-hmm. Even though you love the person, not anything catastrophic as big as cheating or something like that, but just little things like things people say to you or the way you think your partner might be judging you. I feel like all that kind of comes to a head, and even though the moment is past sometimes, the feelings don't really pass. So a long time ago, let me give a story to add context. A long time ago, I don't plan anything for anybody. It's not something I do. It's not something I'm good at. It's not something I enjoy. I don't even plan events for myself. But when Noémie and I first started dating, she had a birthday come up. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something special. I'm going to cook her dinner. I think it was fried rice inside a pineapple or something like that. Mm-hmm. Something I saw on Pinterest. And I made it, and it came the end of the day, and she was upset with me. And I wanted her to be grateful that I went out of my way and did all of this. I wanted her to enjoy the thing, and she was like, nah. We weren't on the same page with it at all. Fast forward years later, it's because my time management, I didn't let her know ahead of time. This is pre-husband, pre-father. You don't really have a good concept of that type of thing, but I didn't call ahead and let her know what's up. Either way, I felt like she was really ungrateful in the moment. We had a big argument, long drawn out fight after that, and what happened was, after that, I realized that I had some type of anxiety. Around planning events for her. I plan her birthday every year. I hate it because in the back of my mind, I feel like she's not gonna like what I do, and she's gonna remind me that I'm not doing a good job. Mm-hmm. And I expressed that to her at one point, and she was like, babe, when's the last time I did that? And I had to sit and I had to think. I think at that time it had been a couple of years.
Quite a few.
Yeah, it's been quite a few years. And even though you and I had moved far past that situation, my brain did not, and I was still holding on to that. And if that could be true for something as small but still important as planning someone's birthday party, it could be true for a lot of different aspects in your relationship.
Yeah, and I think in that particular situation, what kind of helped us move forward is when you look at that from your perspective, you're putting it into your mind that she's not grateful. Mm-hmm. If I do something, she's not gonna like it. The way that it all planned out on my perspective, it wasn't even about what he did. It was about, it's my birthday and I'm waiting all day to see if my boyfriend's gonna take me out. Mm-hmm. And then when I finally do hear back from him, it's 10, 11 o'clock. I don't give a damn about no damn pineapple and no rice. In hindsight, it was beautiful, but I was just I was waiting all day. Mm-hmm. So when I look back on it, I'm not thinking about making sure to let him know that I'm grateful for what he did. I'm like, look at the time. what are we doing? So now, like, fast forward, when I find out that he's still holding on to those feelings, I'm like, it wasn't even about the pineapple and the rice or any of that. It was about time. And I feel like had we had that conversation in a non-heated way then, I think that we both would have had enough of each other's perspective on the other side to kind of move forward. I think that was one of those situations that we just kind of brushed under the rug. And like, that's one of many situations that we have like that. Oh, I gotta sneeze.
Damn, we going. Keep that in. Keep that in.
Why are you making that face?
But no, you made me think about something. What was the thing I was thinking about? All that shit just happened. It's not just those situations, I think, in partnership, because it's not just relationships.
It's friendships.
Like, it's friendships, all relationships. We say romantic partnership because clearly, like, that's the impetus of this entire thing, but it transcends through all relationships. But it's not just that moment. It's also all the other smaller contributory moments that happen in a relationship when you make a small gesture and maybe the reaction you get back isn't the same as what you thought. Or maybe if you give someone something and they criticize it a little harder than you thought they would. I think all of that can filter the way that you think in a really specific way that makes it even harder to jump out of the mind frame of, damn, you wasn't rocking with my fried rice and pineapple, so I don't want to do anything for you at all.
Yeah. What did it take for you? Was it just me telling you to consider the last time that I did it for you to kind of move past that?
Yeah.
Was it quick? What was the process in your mind? Like, you were like, oh, okay. Are you sure that that still doesn't come up? Because I can't say the same for me. Like, I have to talk to myself and kind of like, be like, Noémie, you tripping, relax. It's not an automatic shift in perspective for me.
So it's two things. In the moment when you said it, it was an automatic like, yeah. Oh, okay, because it just never been delivered to me that way. I wasn't trying to hold on to that thing. I just ain't had nothing else to hold on to. It was more real in my head than it was in actual life, but nothing ever challenged the thoughts in my head. That was the first time. And it's not automatic for me. I still hate planning your birthday. Every year, July, as soon as June hit, I'm like, oh, here it go. Gotta plan this birthday. And it's a smash hit every year.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I ever plan.
Yeah. And it's not about the bigness of the event. It's just, for me, when you plan my birthdays or like any events for me, it means that much more to me because I know how much you hate planning anything.
Yeah.
So it's just like, even if it was something small, for me, at the end of the day, it's about the effort. It's not really about like what transpires, like how big it is, whether it's a hit or not. It's the fact that like, damn, you really took the time to consider what I liked and did it.
I put a lot of effort to that pineapple too.
Yeah, and you had me waiting all day.
Was it good? Do you remember? Was the rice good?
Baby, I promise you I don't remember. I think I was so mad. So our babysitter, she's a little bit younger than us, and I'm always giving her like little tidbits and like relationship advice. One of the things that I tell her is that relationships are really all about compromise. Kier, I love him to death, but like time management, it's not that it's not important, it's not a big deal to him. And for me, time management is huge. Like, I like to allocate certain times to certain things. I'm really big scheduling. That's just the way that my brain works, right? So one of the things that we've had to like compromise on is sometimes Kier's gonna have to plan stuff in advance to alleviate my anxiety around like not knowing what's going on. And sometimes I just gotta let him cook to relieve the anxiety of him having too structured of a day. And that's just what it is. So sometimes I'm gonna be frustrated, sometimes he's gonna be frustrated. But I feel like with that particular situation in our relationship, we gotta balance it out.
Absolutely.
It just has to.
Dang, I was just talking to her the other day too. And we were talking about different traumas that we have and where it comes from. And we were talking about how cleaning is a trauma a lot of people have, but they don't see it like that. You have to keep things clean because in your house there was a penalty for not keeping things clean. And you develop an anxiety, but because it helps you, you don't see it as a bad thing. So what happens is you end up punishing the people who you end up in relationships with. Not saying you did that, but not saying you did.
Okay.
not saying you didn't.
Like, I feel judged.
But well, I mean, it's a thing that we do. All of our stuff comes from somewhere. But the point is that when it benefits you, you don't see it as a subset of a traumatic event that happened in your life. So I think that plays a lot into it as well. And when you said compromise to balance it, you got to realize that helps you kind of realize that your way is not the way. You may find comfort and safety in organization where someone else's organization may feel feel stifling to them. You may feel comfort and safety and improvisation and figuring it out as you go along, but for the other person, that may really feel chaotic and unbalanced to them. So when you say balance, people always think about someone else compromising. Well, I ain't gonna say we. When I think about balance, because I don't know how y'all think, I think about someone else giving something important to them. I don't always think about the thing that I'll have to give up that's really close and important to me. And that's hard.
The only note I was gonna say is a couple episodes, or more than a couple episodes, we talked about balance versus harmony.
Oh yeah.
And I want to eliminate. I don't like the word balance. I feel like, and maybe not in this context, I like the way that you explained it, how you were like the give and take. I like the word harmony a little bit better because the goal is to come to some type of common ground. When I think of balance, I think 50-50, and that's not always the case. You have to find the harmony that works in your relationship.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I'm a clean freak because I was the type of person that was punished when the house wasn't clean. Like, my house was always clean. If one dish is in the sink, it's dirty. Period. If my bed is not made, the house is a mess. So for me, in our household, we have 2 kids. The house isn't gonna look like a model home. So it's not 50-50. I have to let go of the house has to be clean at all times, or else I'm gonna go crazy and my family will hate me. But like, it's not 50-50 in that sense, but I found a way to find harmony. The house doesn't have to be spotless all the time. For me, I like to clean up before the kids come home from school because breakfast is a mess. We wake up super early and at least the house is a little bit clean by the time that the kids come home, and then I'll clean one more time at night versus spot cleaning the whole house all the time. Like, I'll just allocate those times for me, you know what I mean? Just in order for me to be okay. And like I said, for my family to not hate me.
But it's the other side has to pull their weight too, and that's making sure hey, shorty, you left your plate on the table.
Yeah.
I need you to clear your plate.
But she'll do it.
Or me, if I see it's a mess sometimes, man, they gonna be home real quick. Let me clean up. Sometimes you got the power to do it and the energy, and sometimes you don't. But I think it's just a good thing to think about. The thing that isn't most comfortable to you, or the thing that you don't think about first, for you to force yourself to just give it a little bit of thought for the sake of your partner's happiness.
So for you then, just using this as an example, clearly in the past, I haven't been the nicest about asking you to like pick up and help me clean and stuff like that.
You think that?
I don't think I've been nice. Can I tell you a trauma that I had?
Yeah, do it.
I don't think I've been nice because there's this moment in my head. Wow, this is super
self-reflective,
timely.
Noémie.
This is timely. There's a
get a
moment
zoom
in my
in.
head when you were like, I feel like you think I'm dirty. And I'm like, I've never said that. And I felt like you thought that I thought that you were dirty and that you had anxiety around me because of the way that I like to keep my house clean. And that plays in my mind all the time. And I'm like, if you said that, you must have thought I was mean to you, or I must have gone too hard on you. So for you to ask me if I think I'm being mean, I'm like, yeah, because that one time when you said that thing, do you feel that way? So do you not feel like I've been mean about it?
I wouldn't characterize it as mean.
I've been frustrated, but I mean as far as like coming to you about it. Because I can't hide my frustration, but I can monitor the way that I talk to you about it.
I don't think anyone should have to hide their frustration,
Yeah.
but I think explaining your frustration to the person you're frustrated with is beneficial. I wouldn't say mean. So the whole dirty thing stuck with me for a while too. I gotta think to myself,
Yeah, 'cause I've never said that to you.
I can tell you where I got it from.
Yeah.
One of your really good friends said something to me, and this is a long time ago. This is when I lived in my own spot and she lived in her own spot. Said something to me that let me know that you talked shit about the way that I kept things clean when I wasn't around. And I know the way, or at the time, the way that like your standard of cleanliness, which is immaculate by the way. I know how you feel about people who aren't clean. I know what you say about them. And I don't think that I was the exception to that rule. And the way that she said it to me sounded to me like you talked about me to her the way you used to talk to me about folks that you thought were like really unclean or whatever. That's where that came from. And it's like, damn, that hurt. That stuck with me for a long time. I just recently got over that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't know that? We never talked about that?
No.
That's
I have
crazy.
no idea what you're talking about. Like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
You're lost?
No, I mean, like, I have no idea. Who would have told you that when that was said? Like, I had no idea that that conversation happened.
Yeah.
And that was tied to this.
If you think about it real hard, you'll know which friend.
Is she still a friend?
Yeah. Think about how that is something that probably shouldn't be said to a person. But yeah,
I know exactly who it is.
And when she said, I was like, tell me more.
I know exactly who it is.
But those are examples of things that existed that two of us still had to.
I know exactly who it. God.
I said, I said, okay.
And I probably did. I don't know exactly what I said to her, but I probably did share, vent, whatever.
I know you now. It probably wasn't that deep.
But
you probably just going there. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, babe. I had no idea that happened.
That nobody ever said that to me before, or even hinted that type of thing that way, and I was so offended. Yeah, I think I was more offended. Like, Dad, you gonna talk about me like that to other folks? But the more I know you and the more we have conversations, I feel like it's like anything. When you misinterpret something someone says, well, I don't think I misinterpreted that, but when you interpret something someone says one way, it could be a completely different way once you get to know them and you just have more context of their entire personality.
I'm just laughing because
I didn't know we was gonna get a case study on this, Jay.
I'm sorry. I'm just laughing because I love the fact that we have like an incognito language. Like it's like blink twice. And I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm like, dang, it all makes sense now. And this is exactly what we were talking about in the beginning of the video. I mean, I'm not gonna say that we didn't communicate or Kier and I have like communication issues, but it is really interesting the way that we interpret situations and how they carry into our relationships. And it's like I'm only laughing because I'm like, dang, like this could have been settled so long ago.
So fast.
And this is something that we've been dealing with for 10 years. 10 years. So y'all are seeing like a live deep dive into our conflict resolution.
If you ever thought our relationship was perfect and we don't have unresolved stuff,
we do. We do.
A lot of it, just like y'all.
I think it just doesn't cause chaos, sadness, anger anymore. Like we have disagreements, but instead of like taking it personally, like, damn, I can't believe that you misinterpreted me. Like, you know me and blah, blah, blah. Like that could have easily turned into that. Whereas now it's like, it's not about me. It's not about what was said. It's not about any of that. It's about how he feels because clearly it's affected you for years. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of happy that he just feels comfortable enough to talk to me about it. And like, I'm not defensive. He's not. I don't know. I think that's growth. We haven't always been able to have conversations like this. Listen, everything is live happening in real time right now. And I'm so proud of us.
Yeah, me too.
That could have easily been an argument.
Yeah, it could have.
No, it couldn't. A while ago. It could have been an argument a while ago, but we've been on this tip for a minute.
Why? Like, how the did we get here? Because it seems like when E was born, that first year, it was so bad sometimes.
I mean, it was trauma.
It's just everything was moving too fast. Yep. Like, how do you get here? I don't expect for us to have the answer. But I feel like the question gotta be asked.
I think an answer is submitting to the fact that it's not gonna be a quick process. I can't say it enough, compromise. And I feel like, you know, when you and I first got together, I was the girl that had the list. I had like the type of guy that I wanted.
What was on your list?
The superficial stuff you met. I wanted somebody tall, dark skinned, someone who loved, like that was a good person. Basically what I wanted was the antithesis of like what I had. I've been in relationships with people that I didn't think were good, kind people. So that was really important to me. Like someone who cared about their community is something that's always been important to me. And I knew that if I wanted to be with someone, they had to share that love. And the fact that I got it tenfold, like I feel like you go harder for your community than I do sometimes. Like clearly look at your platform. But like that was something that I wanted. I'm 5'2" and you know, every short girl loves tall guys. So I got me a 6'1" guy. I love dark skin. You know what I mean? So the superficial stuff that you had, but like I wanted somebody superficially, somebody with their own place, somebody who didn't have kids, somebody that was like a self-starter, somebody that was motivated, all of these things, somebody that was a clean freak. There were things on the list that I was just like, that's a non-negotiable for me. I remember I would judge a guy's car. If you didn't have a clean car, I'm not going out with you. Which was kind of like, in hindsight, my car, I mean, I got kids, but my car look a little crazy. I mean, I got...
Especially up under them car seats in the back.
The amount of crumbs.
Cheez-Its, Goldfish,
Cheerios.
Swedish Fish.
Oh my gosh. It's just a lot. But anyway, like I was definitely like a stickler. And then when I met you, it was kind of like I had to really think about, okay, what are the things that are actually really important to me?
Yeah.
Do I care whether his car is clean? If he can go to the car wash and clean it in 5 seconds? Or do I care more about the fact that this person is a good person and gives back to his community? I had to realize that I had to be a little bit more flexible, and there are certain core things that you can't change. You can't change somebody's heart. You can't change how good a person is. You can't change how people care about the people around them, but you can change their living circumstance. You know what I mean? Like I had to mature a little bit to get to that place.
I feel like a lot of people struggle with that in their friendships and parent relationships and romantic relationships. I wonder what happens. You said you wanted a clean freak, and I was like, what if she met a freakier clean freak than her? It made you feel like you were a piece of filth. Is this dust?
I would clean. I love cleaning.
Oh man!
Like that's what I'm just like. Let's not go there because I'll be like, oh my god, I can live in a bottle house all the time. I really do love to clean. I'm gonna go on a rant just real quick.
Go ahead.
It's just something about like walking into a house and there's like no crumbs on the ground, nothing out of place. It smells like cleaning products. It's like a hotel room when you first go in.
If I could take my mindset now and go back to living on my own, my apartment would be spotless every day.
You'd had nothing in there. Like you're like a newfound minimalist. You're a newfound minimalist that's struggling to get rid of. Like you want to be a minimalist, but you have to get to the place where you got to get rid of stuff, and you're not there yet.
I'm inching ever closer every single year.
I can't wait.
I do want to switch a little bit, and I want to talk about the opposite, because we talked about the time where you had to remind me that I'm not the same person, and there's times I had to remind you that I'm not the same person that I used to be. It usually comes with decisions. Noémie, again, crazy organized. I feel like the way we framing this thing, it makes you look like you're a super organized, maybe obsessive person, and I'm just like like the purple Pokemon that lives in the filth. What's his name? Muck. I don't think we're on those extremes that way, but I remember when we were in a furniture store one time, she looked up all the furniture and, oh, I like this. We're going to pick out that. She has a list and Excel spreadsheet with pivot tables.
Yeah.
And we go on that joint. She says,
maybe I'm a little bit obsessive. The way that
I'm not judging.
That's okay.
I'm not judging.
I do a little too much, and I'm okay with that. I can reel it in sometimes.
That's not the balance, but the harmony. Yeah. Because where you say you may do a little bit too much sometimes, there's times where your thinking like that really helps us.
Yeah.
So
and vice versa. Sometimes your chill person, that's like, see, it really wasn't that deep.
You gotta take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
So we were in the furniture store, and she said, that's the couch that I like. What do you think? That's all right. And I saw her face sink. We've gone through this a lot of times in our relationship. And at first I was going to be like, damn, I just said I didn't like the couch. You know what? I ain't going to say nothing no more. If that's how you're going to react when I say I don't like nothing, I'm just not going to share my opinion. And then for a split second, I had to be real with myself and realize that's a very immature way of thinking. And that's not long-term sustainable. That's just a reaction. I let myself have that in a moment. But then I realized that I needed to tell you the way I felt. And I said, hey, real talk.
Yeah, I feel like I can't tell you.
Yeah,
when I like something.
I feel like I can't disagree with you when I don't like something that you work hard on. So it makes me not want to share my opinion. And I got to give you a credit. You were like, okay. And you kind of took it on the chin. It was a little weird for a little bit, but you know, you get over shit fast.
I do.
And then the day just went on. But I don't know whether it was that same day or a day following where we talked about it again. And I said, babe, when's the last time you worked really hard on something and I just straight up like, oh, that's garbage. Don't never bring that in the house. Like I stepped on your hard work. When
it was probably like one time that you did it, and I probably interpreted it harsher than it really was. I'm finding common themes with us. Effort and time. Any argument or any disagreement that we get into is a misinterpretation of effort and time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our brains work opposite of each other in a lot of different ways. My brain is not good with time and organization.
And my brain needs it.
Yeah. And I think before you really knew me, I think you took that personally as if I was purposely doing those things to be anti the things that you're against or to, I don't know, you said I used to try to ruin your life, but it's like, nah, my brain literally struggles with it where your brain can track seconds in the background. My brain tracks it in chunks. Yeah. So it'll be 1 o'clock and then I'll get into something. I'm like 20 minutes pass. I look up and it's 3 o'clock.
And I'm over here like,
And I'm like, damn, okay, and now I'm anxious and I'm trying to struggle and get things done. I look up again and it's 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Then you walk into, your wife sitting there, you walk into it all apologetic and feeling bad about yourself. But you gotta know people to figure that out. And you gotta see people.
You have to assume positive intent.
You say that all the time. I'm trying to put that on outside of our relationship because I don't assume positive intent with people except for my clients. My clients are the only people in the world I have unconditional positive regard for. Everybody else, not at all. I have my thoughts about people in society.
I know.
Yeah, I don't believe in us. I don't believe in us as a whole. I believe in us as individuals within respective communities. As a whole, no.
And I want to.
No, hopeless. Absolutely
we really
hopeless.
have opposing ideologies.
Yeah. If you're looking for mass change, I want to end sexism and racism. As long as there are differences, people will find a way to exploit those differences to hate each other. That's who we are. That's who we've always been. But individual communities are so powerful and can impact change over long periods of time where those things maybe aren't as strong on society. Yeah. Maybe racism might not have the chokehold it has on it now in 200, 300 years. Yeah. But to say it won't exist, I think that's a utopian idealism.
I love that you said that because I don't disagree with you, but we have the same perspective, but our focus is different. Your focus is on humans as a group. Society is hopeless. The way I look at it is like, I agree on the individual level, but it's like a step up. That's why it's important to invest in your community. That's why it's important to live in a community that feeds to you. Because for me, my perspective is different because I don't focus on the whole world. I focus on the community that feeds into me. And within that community, my tribe, where I live, where my kids go to school, I specifically choose those people in those communities because they pour into me. Yeah. So I don't have, it's not that I disagree with you, it's just that my focus is different.
I call it investing in the spaces around you. If you ever want to change the world, start with the community around you. That's how change reverberates. I don't want to get off on that tangent.
See, that was on my list. Like, a guy who cares about the community. Like,
you gotta care about the community.
People don't be caring.
But you know what? It's not everybody's job to care. It's not.
Right.
I think that's a big ask to ask everyone to care about It's so much to care about. Wasn't it just like an earthquake in Turkey or Syria or something? It's too much going on in the world. We're overexposed. There's no way you can care equally about everything. Take that for what you will.
So, I don't remember, I could be making this up, but like years ago, when E was a baby, I just remember you getting anxious being home with E by herself. It might have been one time, but ever since that happened, and then now that we have 2 kids, I'm like, I can't leave. Let me at least like cook for the week and wash all the clothes and organize everything so that Kier doesn't get overwhelmed. And I think that I used to take it personally, or I used to feel like I caused your anxiety, or like I caused you to be overwhelmed. And I overdid it to help you chill.
In what ways did you cause me to be overwhelmed?
Like, I have a system for where all the stuff is for the girls. You know what I mean? And then when I leave now, you're like, you don't know where anything is. I didn't tell you. I could have labeled things. I could have done X, Y, and Z. It causes me anxiety because I know how I would feel if I felt like I didn't know where anything is. So I internalized that and I blamed myself for that. To the point where like I just wouldn't leave. Like I would just stay home. That's not sustainable. And I think it was like one time, maybe a couple of weeks ago, where I went out and I came home later than I thought I was gonna be, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, blah blah blah. He's like, babe, it's cool. I'm like, it's cool? He's like, yeah, I'm fine with the girls at home. Like, both of them? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, for real? And I was like, oh, okay. And then I went out the next weekend, and then I went out another day, and I was like, damn, I've been missing out over my own like anxiety and misconceptions about what I thought was happening. And even this trip, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should go. Like, I think I booked the trip like less than 4 weeks ago. And I'm like, oh, I didn't give myself time. My family's not prepared. And he's like, go.
Like, they're my children too. And I'm glad that you said that, because this narrative does exist.
Yeah.
Where what the father does, what the mother does, I think it's important. We absolutely have to say that there is an unfair burden of responsibility on mothers in relationships. That's true. It's a thing. It's a struggle. I think that there is a perspective
Hold on, I'm about to get red. Let me.
Nah, I'm not going to read you.
You're
not going to read you. Nah.
Okay.
I think it was brilliant what you said. And I think that's going to give a lot of moms space to kind of breathe a little bit and be seen, because that's not everybody's situation all the time. But I think there's another perspective that exists where we know that motherhood changes the neuroplasticity of your brain and makes you crazy anxious.
You're a totally different person after you have kids.
It makes you anxious. There's no way around it. Like, your brain, you're an animal. Something's going to eat your baby. no, everything's a threat. And I get that. And there's a part of that makes fatherhood incredibly difficult.
Yep.
And I know a lot of dads that are like, yo, please just leave us. You're like, no, what if she forgets me? Or what if I forget this? What if I forget this?
Hold up. You said you weren't going to read me and I felt red because I feel that way.
But
See,
you know.
I'm going to come home and Sydney not going to know who I am.
She going to know who you are, babe.
No,
She done had your boobie in her mouth every 15 minutes for what, the last year?
Not
in
for
the
the
month?
last week. I'm weaning. I'm emotional. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay to be though, babe,
Yeah.
because it's real. And what you feeling is real. And I don't want to minimize that at all. But you are more than just a mother. You're more than just a mother. There is a part of your life that you absolutely have to recapture.
Yeah.
I love you, the person, beyond wife, beyond mom. I love you, the person. And I want to see her happy. And you got to do stuff like this. You got to do stuff like this for real. Okay, too much?
Okay.
Nah. And it could be hard. It
Yeah.
could be hard to kind of like fight you, to have you take your freedom and have you take
Yeah.
your time back. But it has to happen. Which is strange to me because I'm a crazy involved dad.
You really are.
We split pickup and drop
I know.
offs. Whatever she does is an equivalent I do on the other side.
Yeah.
She does dinner, I do baths.
Yeah.
I do drop offs, she do pickups. She do ballet,
Can
I
give
do
you your flowers
gymnastics.
real quick?
What's up?
I was just talking to somebody. I don't remember who it was. Oh, it was somebody who was talking about me quitting my job. And it was just like, oh, I mentioned that you were giving them baths. And she was just like, oh, but you quit your job. And I was like, what? I'm not going to say what I said. But it was just like, what? And I was thinking about it. I'm like, you stop working, even though you work all day, you stop working every single day at 7 o'clock to give a bath, to put somebody to bed. Like, you intentionally take a break every single day to do that, plus in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, you're not a not involved dad.
I wake up at 3 a.m., take the oldest to go pee-pee.
Only dads say pee-pee.
Somebody said that in the comments. I think that speaks to the complexity of how hard it is, that give and take.
Yeah.
And my man Belief, shout out to Glenn Henry, aka Belief in Fatherhood. He said the dopest thing ever about dads. He said that dads need to fail forward. Dads need to fail forward. That means making mistakes without someone over my back reminding me I'm making a mistake.
Yeah.
That means allowing me to be flawed without feeling judged, which for...
Did you feel like I judged you the way you parented?
Judge me the way I parented, no. But when E was first born, no. I think we had one conversation when I felt like you were helicoptering me when I was trying to change E.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, yo, I can't learn like that. I can't learn with you constantly telling me what I'm doing wrong. I just need some space. Man,
Tell him what I did.
you caught ghosts. It was never...
So proud of myself.
Never a problem at that. I
Yeah.
only had to say it one
Yeah.
time. And you caught
Because
on.
it made sense. You might have even been frustrated, but you actually said how you felt.
Yeah.
And it made sense. And I was like, oh, cool. Because I felt the same way. He changed more diapers before I did. Ease was the first diaper I've ever changed in my life.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I knew that I felt like I had to learn. So I think when you were talking about it, I was like, oh, I didn't even notice it. I didn't even notice I was doing that.
That's the
Say
sole
less.
positive intent. Not coming in like, hey, you on my back because you hate me, you don't trust me.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not about how you feel necessarily. It's about what you're doing. And I just want to point out what you're doing so that you can fix all the behind the scenes stuff yourself. But
Can I give a quick tip?
Sure.
For people in that specific situation, sometimes you can hear things that make you feel a little bit like, not defensive, but like it tingle a little bit in your spirit and you're like, ooh, did I do that? Try not to internalize those feelings and focus on how the person telling you is feeling.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I hadn't always done, but I've noticed that I've been doing. Like, I'm giving you the opportunity to say how you feel, even if it's something that I did wrong or a way that I made you feel, because I already know I'm going to apologize, but I need you to know that I understand where you're coming from.
shout out to Growth. Our premarital counselor, he actually gave us that tool.
I can't even take the credit. We've been in therapy, y'all.
he gave us that tool. It was really helpful.
Yeah.
I guess that's almost the inverse of
What we started talking
about. Seeing somebody as what they used to be versus who they are now. And I think you got to go through your internal filing system and just start reconciling files.
Yeah.
Like, what's really in front of me versus what I believe is in front of me. Man, we about to land this plane, but one of my favorite therapists on Instagram, his name is Matthias J. Barker. He's clinician. This dude's a beast. I love his content. And he talks about divorce and when people divorce or break up, how easy it is to build resentment based off of the picture of that person that you draw. And how you draw that picture, you're a bad person. And once they get in that category, it's like, look at you. Even the good things they do, look at you doing the dishes. Why couldn't you do them 3 weeks ago? And it just becomes impossible for that person to win. I know my mind. I have a great mind for that. I have a perfect mind for that thinking. So I have to stay away from that at all costs and be really conscientious about what's actually happening to me right now. Yeah, that's why the gaslighting thing bothers me so much. It bothers me when people, gaslighting is a popular term, but almost nobody uses it correctly. And I get it. It's a way to highlight the way that you may be targeted or victimized in a moment. But sometimes I don't know if people can tell the difference between someone trying to bring them to a moment of consciousness and someone gaslighting them. I don't know if you could tell the difference. And if you're
What
deep,
is the difference?
the genesis of gaslighting is manipulation.
Like the intent of the person.
That is the bare bottom baseline of gaslighting. It's to make you feel like your reality is not your reality. In an attempt to manipulate and skew the way you think.
I can totally see how people get that wrong then, because they focus on their feelings. Like, this feels bad, so you must be gaslighting me.
That's a problem I have with like the modern mental health movement. It's so self-centered. Walk away from the things that don't serve you. You gotta be careful. That is not good advice if you're not specific about what that means. The mental health culture is very self-centered. I just watched something else talk about how religious culture is starting to be very self-centered now. We're moving into an era of self-centrism that has never existed before. And my concern is that we're going to take it too far like we do everything. Good thing we ain't take the runway too far. We landed this plane. You got anything else?
I mean, nah, man. Just drop the gems in the comments, because I feel like there were quite a few, especially on the tail end of this.
What's your takeaway? Let us know what you think, where you at with it, all that stuff. If Noémie doesn't have any brilliant shards of wisdom to share, we're going to get her to this airport so she can go sit on this beach and enjoy her life.
I gotta go, y'all.
All right. Hey, make sure you hit the notification button so that you can know of all of our posts as soon as they post. Also, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. There are a lot of y'all that are watching my videos that don't subscribe. I do it to people on YouTube all the time. But be better than me. Be better than me. Don't be like me. Hey, we will catch y'all next time. Big love. Y'all take care.
Bye.